was my mistake. I forgot to take that down. I'm still new at this, you guys. There we go. Now you can see us. Good morning. No one's on yet anyway, Lana, but people watching the replay.
Yes,
Oh, there we
indeed.
go. We have a couple people. Here they come hopping on in. Good morning, everybody. We are live. And I'm here with my new friend, Lana. We were just chatting before about our kids and our grandkids and all that kind of fun stuff. But her channel is Carb Addict Now Carnivore. Do I have that right?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. She has a great channel, and I invited her here today because I wanted to hear more about her story. So welcome, Lana. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Christy, for having me. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Yeah, same. So what I think I'd like to start, or I hope you'd be okay to start, is telling us a little bit about your health journey. Clearly you were a carb addict and now you're a carnivore. I got that from your name. I need the details. Can you tell them to us?
Oh, yeah, that is quite a story. I didn't realize I was addicted to carbs. I just thought I liked potatoes and, different. I wasn't really a sweet addict. I like chocolate, but I wasn't constantly eating chocolate or anything like that. But I did like sweet coffee, very sweet, creamy coffee. That was one of my things. So in 2022, last year, I started having stomach aches. And they would last for days. I'd have a stomach ache for days. It would just ache and it'd just be, I wasn't feeling nauseated, just stomach ache. And eventually it got my attention, like something's going on here. What is happening? And sometime during the same year, I saw Jason Rhodes on the Homesteading Channel. He was eating carnivore because he had some kind of inflammation issue. He was having inflammation in his back. He was having a lot of pain, physical pain. And so he said he was going to go carnivore for 2 or 3 weeks. I think he ended up 30 days. And it really helped him. It took the inflammation away. Well, as soon as the inflammation was gone, he went back to eating the regular way and, farm food, because they're farmers. And it never occurred to me that I would ever do that, because he was showing these like almost like a serving plate, an oval serving plate with a piece of meat draped over the whole thing,
Sounds good to me. I don't know what you're complaining about.
Wow, that's a meal. I mean, that'd take me a week to eat that, So, yeah, that's what he was showing the camera, and I was just like, but I remember it. It made an impression on me. And then last December, I had a Zoom call with an old friend that I hadn't seen for a few months, maybe even more than a year. And wow, she looked great. This was somebody that had major health issues, constantly feeling bad and looking, so tired. And she looked wonderful. She was vibrant, face was just glowing. She'd lost quite a bit of weight. And I was like, what happened? You look fabulous. And she said, oh, I'm on the carnivore diet. I'm doing the BBB&E diet. So she explained what that was. And, I was intrigued, like, good for you. I'm so glad you found something that works. But again, never occurred to me that I would need to do that. But it did put it in my memory. So I have 2 things in my memory. At Christmas of last year, which was just a couple weeks after that, I went to my sister's house. I'm single. I didn't have anyone in or go anywhere for Christmas, but the day after Christmas, I went to stay with my sister for a couple of days as a visit. She lives 7 hours away from me. And on the 26th, I get there. They have all this leftover Christmas food. And I'm eating Christmas food and not thinking a thing about it. I wasn't stuffing myself. I was just eating Christmas food. And on the 27th, the next day, I got such a bad stomach ache. It was the worst one I'd had yet. It was bad enough that it was kept me up a little bit. Not all night, but, when I lay down to go to sleep, I was like, oh, this stomach ache is bad. So I went downstairs and I said to my sister, I've got a stomach ache. She said, well, drink a little wine. Maybe that'll help, calm it down. I hate alcohol. She gave me some wine. I'm just like, hold my nose and swallow a little, it's like, ah. But
Wow.
it did help. It did help a little. And I was able to get to sleep after that, two little swallows, and I was better. But the next day I drove home, and 7 hours of driving, I was thinking, what am I going to do about these stomach aches? Because I knew if I didn't do something, they were going to keep getting worse. I was going to end up in the doctor's office. I might even have to have some kind of surgery. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to find out what's going on here before it gets that bad. And then I remembered my son, friend, my friend. She did the carnivore diet. And I mulled over that a little bit and I realized, that's an elimination diet. If I go on that for, say, 30 days, I could add things back and find out what's wrong, what I'm eating that's causing this pain.
Mhm.
So that day, December 28th, is the day I drove home. That day I became a carnivore. And I got home and I just started eating meat. I didn't do just beef only. I had chicken in the freezer and I had some fish and pork and so forth. And I just was eating meat, bacon, butter, and eggs. And I was putting whole cream in my coffee with electrolytes. I stopped using sweetener in my coffee, and I was okay with it. I liked it that way. It wasn't deprivation. Everything I was doing was great. I was enjoying my meals. I felt better. I never had another stomach ache after that. So about 2 weeks later, the 15th of January, I flew to Boston from Jacksonville, Florida to Boston. And I was going to be speaking at Harvard, and I was not nervous. I drove to the airport and I realized, I was about an hour away to the airport. And on the way to the airport, I just said, wow, I am chill. What's going on here? Because I always carry a lot of anxiety, in the past. And I didn't have any anxiety. I mean, my anxiety would usually be like a 9, and it was like a 2.
Wow.
And that was dramatic. I was always running scenarios in my head. What if the plane is late? What if this happens? What if I lose my wallet? What if this,
Mhm.
and I did, I was totally good. And I got to Boston. I continued carnivore and I felt wonderful. I wasn't hungry in the hotel room, which was another one of my fears. I've got to get to a store between the hotel and the airport so I can get some food for the hotel room because I'll end up hungry. I was always panicked about getting hungry. So yeah, I was good. I found 2 hard-boiled eggs in a grab-and-go little station at the airport. I took that with me,
Mhm.
and that was about it. Um, I was fine. I didn't even want them. I didn't want those hard-boiled eggs because I was eating meat, when I had a meal. So yeah, the speech went great. I was comfortable on stage. Everything was good. I had the best trip I've had for a long time. So when I got home, that's when it really it hit me that there's more to the carnivore diet than, or I should say the carnivore lifestyle now.
Mhm.
There's more to it than just eliminating the chemicals. There's more to it than losing weight or whatever. This was doing some serious changes in my life, in my body. And I said, I'm going to stay on this for 3 months. I feel so good. I had pain in my knee for probably 10 years. I
Mhm.
twisted my knee dancing. I used to take dancing classes and must have done some damage in there because, off and on, not all the time, I was having this pain in my knee. It went away. And there was just so many things that was so great. And so I said, I'm just going to stick with it. And I did.
Mhm.
And then 3 months turned into 6. And now I'm 11 months in. I'm never going back. I love the way I feel. I love the way I'm able to move. I used to have to, it wasn't like my legs were, I would never say I had bad legs. I have good legs. They're strong and they're good. But when I would get out of the car, I would hold on to the door for a second to get my balance, and
Mm.
then I would walk instead of just getting out and moving on. Now I'm over 60. So, these things, people kind of condition you to believe that's just what happens. You get the big 6-0, you're going to start slowing down. You're going to start having trouble with your legs. Oh my goodness. So now, I'm popping out of the car. I'm running around to the trunk, getting my stuff out, hauling it in, getting up the steps, never think about it. Skipping around and actually, overall, I'm moving like a young person now and not even thinking about it. No pain. And to me, that is priceless. Why would I ever go back to what was not working before, and my balance is way better too. So yeah, that's kind of where I am now. And of course it's gone further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. We have several people here, so I'd like to say hello to some of them. So we have Keto Cheeto here, and that I'm assuming that little cup. Yeah, Keto Cheeto, me too. I got mine too. This is not Coffee Talk Across America. However, it is okay to drink coffee if you like while we are chatting this morning. So and then yeah, he wanted to know, did you just say chocolate earlier when you were talking? Did you?
That was my old life. The old me.
Oh my gosh.
No more chocolate.
Yeah. Ellie popped in. Hello, Ellie, saying hello to everyone. And this is Miss Nicole saying, hey, friends.
Oh, hey.
And that is Christy and Lana. That's right, Nicole. It's a 2-for-1 today. You get both of us. And then we had 2 comments about that wine. So I want to put them up. I kind of had the same reaction. She wanted you to drink wine to feel better. What kind of backwards logic is that? LOL, I'm glad it helped. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't either. I hate wine.
Yeah, and then Nicole said, yeah, I never heard of that one before, talking about the wine as well. I don't feel good. Drink wine. Yeah, I had that same reaction. But and then, the carnivore calm is real. So Nicole said, I experienced the same calmness during my first public speaking event after going animal-based. Such a surreal feeling. I'm interested to see what's going to happen because I'm a teacher and I go in front of an audience every day, but they're 10. So I don't get that nervous and I never have. But in the past, when I would get anxious is when I have to do the awards, at the end of the semester, honor roll and all of that, because then all the parents are there. So that's coming up either in January or February. And I am kind of looking forward to seeing if I feel a little bit calmer, before having to do that. I know I feel less anxious in my everyday life, generally speaking, for sure. So I'll keep you guys posted. And then Ellie said that Lana has a good mindset. So yes, that's fantastic. I was kind of taking notes as you were talking. First of all, I thought it was fantastic that you had 2 carnivore role models, if you will, before you started. And one was even in real life. I don't think I've met any other carnivores in real life before. Obviously on YouTube, yes. In interviews, yes. In person, not so much. Did they tell you anything more about it? You just noticed how they looked and they didn't tell you about any other benefits like anxiety or any of that stuff?
Justin Rhodes didn't, but my friend did talk about it a little bit. But as soon as I, on December 28th, when I made this decision, I immediately went on YouTube and subscribed to a bunch of carnivore channels and started to binge watch carnivore channels. So yeah, I was getting so much information about the lifestyle, what people did, what they didn't do, what worked, what didn't work, and so forth. And then some of the more narrow way of bringing it in. I heard about the lion diet for the first time, which I've never done. I've heard about, more of the different reasons why ruminant animals are better than chicken and pork and that kind of thing. And over time, I have narrowed down. I only eat beef, lamb, and sometimes a little pork, although I don't enjoy pork as much. I might buy ground pork and mix it with my hamburger, which makes it a little more juicy to me. So those kind of things, but yeah, no more chicken at all. I do not like chicken. I used to eat chicken all the time. It was my go-to meat. And now I can't eat it at all. I don't want it. And I stopped drinking coffee, which you just mentioned. This is
Yes.
my carnivore tea, which
Okay, what's in
is
there? Tell
it's
us.
2 tablespoons of butter,
Okay.
electrolytes, an unflavored electrolyte, um, and then foam it, hot boiling water, and then foam it up with an immersion blender, and it makes the best hot drink, and it's very satisfying, soothing to the stomach. So I didn't stop coffee because I made a choice. I stopped coffee because suddenly it stopped tasting good to me. And whenever that happens, I'm always thinking like, if I'm putting something in my mouth and I need to enjoy it. If I'm not enjoying it, why am I eating it?
Hmm.
And so when I stopped enjoying coffee, I just said, well, you know what? I'm just not going to have it anymore. I mean, I don't need it. If I don't like it, why should I? And immediately I went into coffee withdrawal. I had worse time with coffee withdrawal than I did with carb withdrawal.
Wow.
Yeah. I was sick for 5 days. I mean, full body aches, flu symptoms, all of it. Yeah.
Did you do anything to alleviate that? I've heard some people will have like a caffeine pill on hand and take a caffeine pill to take the edge off a little bit when they're trying to kick their coffee.
I didn't have a headache. If I had had a headache, I would have done that.
Okay.
Because I didn't have a headache, I just worked through it. I drank a lot of water, got some rest, and let it go. But when that happened to me and I realized the effect coffee was having on my body, I
Mhm.
once I got off of it, I'm not ever going back to coffee again. I don't want to go through that again, Why
Yeah.
would I? Yeah.
No, I
So,
hear you. You've said a couple of things that led me to ask this question. So I've noticed since I've gone carnivore, my body talks to me a lot more loudly and clearly than it ever did before. You talked about that with chicken. You talked about that with coffee. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
oh, sure, yes. Now this is pre-carnivore. This didn't happen during carnivore, but it really has helped me through this journey. And that is my daughter had chronic illness from Lyme disease. And as I was going through her healing journey with her, because she was living with me at the time, we learned to muscle test and check in with the body on everything that was in the house, everything she was eating. And I learned to tune in to whether my body is liking this or not liking this. And at the time, my body was really liking carbs. That's
Well,
addiction.
yeah. Well, at least your gut bacteria were anyway. I don't know if your knee was so happy.
No, it wasn't.
Mixed
My
reviews.
brain,
Yeah.
yeah. So I wasn't getting any no's on that. But once I got off of the carbs, then I started becoming sensitive to these other things. And so when, I'm putting something in my mouth again and I'm getting a feeling like I'm not really liking this, I'm gonna stop, just stop because I don't need it. Why am I eating something that is not really helping me feel better or helping me enjoy life more? And when I quit coffee, I stopped buying whole cream as well. I didn't need it. That was the only thing I was using it for. And well, I did at the beginning, I did have to say, I would whip up the whole cream, make whipped cream out of it, put in some salt and some vanilla and freeze it. And to me, that was like a cheat ice cream, but it wasn't a cheat. It was still carnivore.
Mhm.
Um, I was addicted to ice cream. That was one of my things in the past. And so that was kind of like a bridge for me. I don't do that anymore. I don't even want it anymore. But it helped me kind of get over the hump of not having something cold. And I also was doing cold butter slices that I
Mhm.
would keep in the fridge, and I would be eating those for something cold. I don't really crave cold that much anymore. That's kind of faded away.
That's interesting. I do butter slices. We call it bite butter around here. Hashtag bite butter, everyone in the chat. But yeah, I mean, I just did some this morning, but to me, it's not the cold. I just feel like sometimes when my body's craving a little extra fat. So like, yeah, I'll eat it cold like that. Sometimes I have my steak just steak, but then sometimes I don't know why. I just get this idea like that steak needs a pat of butter on it. And I just feel like that's my body saying, you need this fat today. So, put it on. So I just find that very interesting. How your body, thank you, Ellie, how your body can talk to you. Yes. Hashtag bite butter. We are making that a thing around here for sure. So there's some more people have popped in. So we have semi-retired Bob. Hey Bob, how you doing this morning?
Oh, hey, I love his channel. I watch.
It's a great channel. I know he's coming on my channel in a couple of weeks here. I'm very excited to talk to him.
Yeah.
And Dustin at Keto Simple. Good morning, Dustin. Don't worry, Dustin. You don't have to give up your coffee. She's not saying that. Nope. Anyway, good morning, Dustin. Your live this morning was fantastic. So thank you for joining mine. We have my friend Erin at Brewing Better Living. You may have seen us live together at one time or another, right, Erin? Ellie says that she also became sensitive to a lot of foods, especially seasonings.
Yes.
I haven't noticed that I'm sensitive to seasonings, but I have noticed that I don't want them anymore. Like, I just don't want them. If I have them, my stomach doesn't freak out. But like, if it's just me cooking for me, it's like going to be salt and that's about it usually. I might go crazy and put some seasoned salt on every now and again. That's super rare. That's maybe once a month. I'll just I think I'm going to do seasoned salt today, but mostly it's just my Redmond's real salt and I'm a happy camper.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to ask you if you had any adaptation symptoms when you went carnivore, because you said you did it initially because of your stomach aches. I know when I went carnivore, I had some bathroom issues for several weeks until my body got used to what I was doing. Did you notice anything like that or any other adaptation symptoms?
I didn't really have much. I kind of eased into it.
Okay.
Where the first 2 weeks, I made a pot of pasta noodles. They weren't seasoned, no tomato, nothing like that. It was just noodles, I think, with butter. And for the first 2 weeks, I would put a small spoonful of those noodles on my plate. So I was getting a very small amount of carbs to get my body off. And I didn't go into keto flu or anything like that. I did have cravings because my modus operandi before, I should say BC, before carbs, was every night after supper, I would prowl through the kitchen looking for something to eat. I would get something. Half an hour later, I'm back again, opening cabinet doors, opening the fridge, what, until I went to bed. From supper time to bedtime, that was my habit. And so I still had that habit. And I was eating pork rinds and things, but I had to get through that, that habit of looking for food. That was one of my big adjustments. And it did fade, but it took a few months. It took a few months for me to stop prowling. That was one thing that happened, but I just wrote it out with pork rinds and, butter and things like that. I would also make meatballs and put them in the fridge so I could pull a meatball out and eat a little meatball. Just trying to transition myself in a conscious way, be ready. And I think preparedness is a major issue, that you have stuff in the house to eat. So you're not getting into that gnawing feeling. Once that gnawing feeling hit me, I knew I was toast. That was my addiction, raising its head.
Yeah.
And it was hard after that. But if I could get through with just a little craving and meet that with carnivore instead of something else, that was, and by the way, I didn't clean out my cabinets. I didn't clean out my cabinets for about 6 months from all the carbs I had. I had a lot of stuff, I had a lot of canned goods and things that, were not on the diet, but I didn't really know what to do with them. I didn't want to throw them away. It was food, you just don't throw away food.
Yeah.
I ended up taking it all to a food bank. I loaded my trunk with food and took it to the food bank. That was about, I don't know, 2 months ago. So about
Mhm.
9 months in, I finally cleaned out my cabinets. And of course, Hurricane Idalia hit my house. My electric went out for a month. So I cleaned out my freezer automatically.
Mhm. Wow, a
No choice
month?
there.
A month, you said. Wow.
Yes, because a tree limb came and took out the power pole at the end of my house, the connection, the service outside my house.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Yeah, that's more reason for me. So I have solar panels on my house, but I don't have the like the battery power wall thing that use. Yeah, so if the power goes out, my power still goes out. So that's like on my to-do list because yeah, I don't want that to happen. Anyways, I'm off track. Nicole, you're influencing me to go off the rails. Nicole does not like pork rinds. Nicole, some people use bacon for that. Did you ever use bacon, Lana, for your cravings? I have. I used to keep
Oh
like a
yeah.
bag of bacon on hand
Yeah.
and do that. I know that's pretty popular. So I wanted to circle back to the thing you said about chicken and pork. So just because I noticed something, so I still eat chicken occasionally. If I do, it's usually chicken thighs, sometimes chicken wings, deep fried or shallow, whatever you want to say. I don't know, fried in either beef tallow. Well, I've done beef tallow, and I'm going to try some bacon fat next time because that just sounds good.
Wow.
Anyways, but I noticed that if I eat that like more than one day in a row, my energy starts to kind of fade and I get hungry sooner. And then after that, when I do have some beef, it's like all of a sudden all the lights come back on in my brain. I'm like, oh, there it is. Do you have anything, did you notice anything like that? Or it's just that you don't want to eat it because it doesn't sound good to you?
It didn't taste good to me when I stopped eating it, and tried it one more time again at my sister's house. I go visit her a couple times, 3 times a year, and I just didn't enjoy it. So it's more of a taste thing. There's something about it I just don't like. But I love beef and lamb. I found some lamb at Sam's Club, and got that, and wow, now I'm in love with lamb.
Yeah, I've tried lamb. I've even tried lamb since carnivore. I tried it a long time ago, did not care for it. Tried it again at a Brazilian steakhouse because I thought, oh, this is the place to try it because I don't have to, buy a whole thing. Like they're going to bring me all the meat anyway. I took a bite, did not like it. I'm like, all right, let me try one more. Did not like it. I'm like, I wish I liked it. I want
Yeah.
to like it. I just don't like it. Put in the comments if you like lamb. I feel like lamb is very like you either like it or you don't. I feel like
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm noticing. Let me know if you guys like lamb out there. So tell me about like your typical eating. Are you like, how many meals a day do you eat? What do you eat? You mentioned like BBB and E before, or is that what you're doing, or what does that look
Kind
like?
of. I'm kind of doing BBB and E. I still eat, of course, lamb, and I also trying to think. Butter is on it. Sour cream. Sour cream is something I still eat. That's the only dairy besides butter that I
Okay.
that I will eat. And sometimes I'll put sour cream on the side of my steak and dip my steak in sour cream. If I go out and
Mhm.
get steak out, I'll ask them for butter and sour cream to go
Nice.
with the steak. So yeah, that's the one thing that I think is off that plan. But it has gotten more narrow and more narrow as goes by. But I feel more and more satisfied, and I'm not prowling in the kitchen anymore. I eat 2 meals a day. The first one is my big meat meal, but I don't eat until 2, 3, 4 o'clock.
Okay.
This last weekend, excuse me. Last weekend I was out doing errands and I didn't eat until 5 o'clock, I think. I was totally fine. So I'm not any longer worrying about being hungry. It's just not an issue. If I'm flying or something, I just don't eat. I'm okay. Whenever I get where I'm going to go, I go get some meat and I'm fine. So that's my first meal. And then I make bone broth and I freeze it. I will put my leftover bones, if there are any bones in any meat that I eat, I store them in the freezer. And then I also will get beef short ribs or something like that, and then put all of that in the crock pot, make bone broth. And I was making bone broth before, but I was putting vegetables in there and all that. Now I just put in meat and salt. I'll put a splash of apple cider vinegar to help to emulsify the fat and let it cook for 24 hours and then I drain that off and I put it in wide mouth mason jars, pint jars, and freeze it. And so when I need bone broth, I'll just pull one of those jars out and put it in my refrigerator. Now you have to leave a 2-inch gap at the top, but you can freeze bone broth in mason those wide mouth pint jars, perfect for one person. So then I will divide the broth and the meat bits into those jars, and that's my second meal. I will take leftover meat from the first meal of the day, put it in chunks, add it to the bone broth, make myself a little carnivore soup, which is awesome, so good. And that is kind of a calming, soothing small meal at the end of the day. And if I feel like it, I'll scramble an egg and pour the scrambled egg into the boiling soup and just let it cook. Just don't stir it. Just let it cook like that. And it makes a wonderful, satisfying meal for the evening. And then I'm good for the rest of the night. So that's basically, I'm so boring now.
That sounds delicious, actually, to me, except the lamb part. But the other part, I was smiling the whole time you were talking about bone broth because, yeah, I started making my own bone broth. I too have a bone bag in my freezer. I save all my ribeye bones, and if I've eaten chicken, I'll even just throw a couple of them in there. Honestly, it's usually all beef bones though, because I don't eat chicken very often. But I do mine in the Instant Pot just because it's faster. So it just takes 4 hours, but that stuff gets gelatinous, man. If there's some serious collagen in there. I have not tried the soup yet, so I will try that, I think, but I just made my first batch of like carnivore chili with that bone broth as the base. And then I just used different kinds of meat in there. So I had like ground beef, I had some steak, like cut up into cubes. And then I had a couple different kinds of actually sausage, which I know isn't your thing because that will be pork, but it was really good. And like this morning I had some left over. I like put I had bacon in there too in the chili, but I put some extra bacon and then a little scoop of like the leftover chili, crisped up the bacon, put the little leftover chili in there, and then put some eggs in there, scrambled it up. You couldn't really call it scrambled eggs. It's more like hash because it was like half meat and then with egg in there. But man, yeah. Good. So I'm trying new stuff like that all the time. I like the idea of dropping the egg into the soup, like an egg drop soup kind of.
Yes, it's great. And the egg just blossoms. It's very soft and very flavorful. I forgot to mention that I do eat seafood sometimes, special occasions. If I go out to eat, nothing on the menu looks anything, right. I might get grilled shrimp or a piece of salmon, something like that. Once in a while, not all the time, but that's good to me. That's a treat and doesn't hurt my stomach at all.
That's good. I've never been a seafood fan. I keep trying stuff. I think it was my husband's aunt. I don't know. Somebody brought some like smoked salmon to our Thanksgiving gathering the other day, and my husband took some. So I said, okay, when you take that, I'll take a bite. And I was like, yeah, no, I can't do it. Everybody was raving. The smoked salmon is so good. It's so good. I'm like, all right, I'll try some.
I don't know if I could do the smoked salmon either.
It was not for me. So I just, I satisfied myself with some dark meat turkey with a giant dollop of butter on top of it. And that was delicious. I thought I was going to get like, why are you just eating meat with butter on it? I was debating like, am I going to go and not eat and get questioned, or am I going to go and eat just meat and get questioned? But I decided to eat the meat, and it turns out that at least one of my husband's aunts is like kind of on board now with the proper human diet. And I was shocked because the last time I talked to her about anything like that, she was very, 1980s mindset, saturated fat is good. Nobody should eat butter ever. Like that kind of, or saturated fat is bad, excuse me. Nobody should eat butter ever and all of that. So I thought I was going to get the 3rd degree, but yeah, she was right on board. It was I was pleasantly, because I had been so nervous about it for days ahead of time.
Yes.
How is this going to go? So you mentioned dancing. Are you still doing any dancing or any other kinds of exercise? You said you can skip around like a young girl these days. How are you using that energy, Lana?
Oh, that's so funny. I moved away from my dance class, and where I live now I'm in a rural area where there's no adult dance classes. Everything I've looked at is for kids, school kids. So I
Oh,
haven't been able to find a place, but yeah, I don't go to the bar scene or anything like that. I couldn't go there and just for dancing, I wouldn't enjoy it. But that is something that I would love to get back into at some point. Who knows? So I have a trampoline in my living room, one of those little ones,
hmm.
and I bounce on that. I bounce on that whenever I feel like it. In the middle of the day, I just jump on the trampoline for a little bit. It's right there in the middle of the room. I also do stretches, kind of like yoga stretches, but not yoga, but just stretches.
Okay.
And then just outdoors, go outdoors, go to wherever we can walk. And when I have a chance to walk, I walk. If I go to a mall, which I don't very often, but if I go to a mall, I park away from the building. If I'm going to the grocery store, I don't park right up by the building. I park back. So I want to walk in, I want to walk around, and I want to take advantage of those opportunities to walk and just move. So that's another thing. I take my chances, to walk.
That's awesome. I haven't gotten on it in a while, but I have for my kids, and they've outgrown it now. So maybe I need to get on it. A big trampoline in the
Mm.
backyard. I'm like, I think I need to go get on that thing. Nobody else is using it. That sounds like fun. I've also incorporated hula hooping. So when you said the little trampoline, it reminds you. So I have my weighted hoop. So I stand here in my office because it's a big empty space back here, and I do my hula hoop. I had to teach myself how to hula hoop counterclockwise, which was fun. I can do it easily now though, and yeah, just stuff like that I can kind of pick up and incorporate throughout the day. When I was doing like my squats last month, which was my challenge last month, my planks. I like those things because I'm with you. You can just like stop where you are and do it, and it doesn't take a long time. I'm not the
Mhm.
person to go dedicate myself for an hour in the gym or anything like that. It's like first I have to get dressed to do it, then I got to drive over there, and then I gotta, yeah, it's just I don't have time really. So I like that you said that because that's kind of how I incorporate my fitness too. I would like to get back to walking more. I used to go for walks, and then it got hot. Where I am, it's like over 100 degrees almost every day in the summer. It's
Yes.
finally just cooled down to a reasonable temperature. So I need to get back to that. I keep saying that, but I need to just do it. I think this is Nicole talking about the lamb. So she says she's had it in Jordan, and because of that, she's hesitant on trying it here because the meat quality is so much better over there. So maybe I would like some lamb from Jordan. I don't know. Becky is here. She says, "Good morning, citizens." Good morning, Becky. Nice to see you. And Karen says, "You need time for you to start and be the adult dance class leader."
Oh my goodness, I'm not good enough. That'd be the blind leading the blind.
That's funny. Oh, bye, Nicole. Nicole's going to take off and have her lunch. See you later. Thanks for popping
Thank
in.
you. Bye, Nicole.
So, you mentioned that you were over 60 now. Have you noticed, did you have any like arthritis type of symptoms or things like that? Because my mom is 71, and she's like heavy meat keto. She's not full carnivore, but she had arthritis in her hands to the point that even her knuckles were starting to like swell up a little bit. And like A, the pain is gone, B, the stiffness is gone, and C, the knuckles are getting smaller.
Awesome.
I know. So I was just wondering if you've had anything like that or other things that you've noticed like that.
Oh yeah, there's been so many reverse aging. I'm stopping calling it benefits of carnival. I'm calling it reverse aging now because it's gone beyond. I lost my gray hair. My hair has turned back blonde. It looks a
Wow.
little dark in this light, but it's golden like it used to be. And I always have had pretty good thick hair, but it's just my hair is back. It's the me back, and I couldn't be happier. My hands. Um, I haven't had really arthritis, but I've had a like stiffness in my fingers and so forth. And I'm a writer. That's what I do for a living. And so on the keyboard, I'm okay. I don't have pain with that because I'm working that constantly all day, every day. But I had to give up crochet. because I just couldn't do that. And so I just went and got a pattern and some yarn, and I'm crocheting, and my hands are okay. And I'm into the project now. My hands are no pain at all, no stiffness at all. I'm able to do it just like I did when I was in my 20s.
Wow.
Fabulous, just amazing. So yes, there are so many. My gum issues disappear, have totally disappeared. My teeth actually feel stronger. I used to have a feeling like when I was really chewing something that was making me work, I would have a feeling like my teeth were weak.
Mm.
I don't have that anymore at all. So yeah, I mean, one thing after another. I think I need to sit down and just think about, make a list of all the different benefits that I've experienced. They've been phenomenal. My eyesight is better than it used to be. I would have to have a magnifying glass to see things that are small. Now I can read small stuff again. So, yeah, this has been a life change, and I feel like life extension. And when you're older, you notice the changes. If you're younger, you may not notice it as much because you haven't reached that point where you're starting to feel the inflammation and deterioration. It's just stacked up. It's stacked up toxins. We accumulate them, and they stick, they stay. That's why we get sick. When we stop doing it and the body starts being able to throw it off, we start feeling bad. So until we don't, then we feel good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just said like a lot of things that resonated with me. I don't think I can remember them all, but I'm 48, so I was definitely starting to notice some probably arthritis in my right hand. So being a teacher, I'm not a writer, but I do write a lot. Being a teacher, but also even with my mouse and keyboard. And then I'm right-handed, so my right hand would ache every single day, and it doesn't do that anymore. I also had a knee issue, but I'm not a dancer. Well, I mean, I did a little bit in high school, but mostly volleyball was my thing. And I don't know if it was just like the repetitive whatever, but yeah, into my 40s, it would ache. I couldn't do squats. I couldn't do anything without my right knee, just deciding it needed to swell up. It doesn't do that anymore. I just got back out and sprinted today. I've been doing Dr. Sean O'Mara's a sprint protocol in September and a little bit into October. And then I think I pulled my left hamstring a little bit. So I was resting it, but I went out today. That felt really good. Like I felt good. I felt strong. My knee, even though I haven't done it for a few weeks, trying to get my hamstring to kind of heal back up. My knee didn't hurt at all, and my hamstring was fine. Like it's just like amazing how that works. The two things that really got me, and I don't know if you'll remember, because I know if you don't, if a person, not you, but if a person doesn't write these things down, it's hard to remember. I still have some gray hairs that I cover up with my my hairdresser covers them up. And the other thing you said was I'm trying to think what it was. Maybe it was the arthritis, and I had already talked about that. But it was the eyes. It was the eyes. So my eye doctor has been threatening me. He doesn't threaten me. He wants to give me bifocals, and I feel threatened by that. And I've been saying, nope, leave me alone, doc. I'm good. I can still see. I'm good. I'm good. I mean, I kind of can, but it's like, trying to find that right focal length or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about how long that took. I've been carnivore since June, so less time than you have. How long did that take for you to notice the gray hair and the eyes?
I think about 6 months, it started to show some improvement. Around 9 months, I was really starting to notice it. And yeah, I think there are more improvements. Yeah, I'm getting that there are more improvements to come, even now. But the fact that I don't have to wear my glasses to drive, I passed my driving test without glasses this time. And those things are just amazing. And I didn't set out to do this. I'm as surprised as anybody else.
You just wanted to get rid of your stomach aches.
Get rid of my stomach aches. Yeah, I had no idea, but I'm so grateful that I got into this lane. Thank you so much for the stomach aches.
Yeah,
that led me to this to this place, and now I am full on a carnivore enthusiast,
Mm-hmm.
to tell people about this way of eating. And I started the the Carb Addict Now Carnivore channel because I noticed so many people in the chats, especially, were talking about cravings and so forth. And if it's okay for me to tell my addiction story
Yeah.
about it,
Yeah. Tell
um,
it.
3 months in, before I quit coffee, I decided I was going to try an artificial sweetener in my coffee. So I got some artificial sweetener. I put it in my coffee, drank the coffee, and within an hour, that was just sweet. It wasn't carbs.
Mm-hmm.
I had this intense craving for sugar. I mean, intense. It was debilitating. I didn't do any work that day. I
Wow.
couldn't write. I sat down at the computer to write. I couldn't write. I went and laid on my bed and just prayed that it would pass. And I knew better than to eat anything because I didn't want
Mm-hmm.
to make it worse, right? I knew it would pass, but it took from about 9 o'clock in the morning until close to supper time for it to pass. And
Wow.
and that was a wake up call for me. And I can remember at the end of that time, I went into my kitchen and I stood in the middle of my kitchen thinking about what had happened. And I realized in that moment, I am an addict. That episode that I had was an addiction craving. That wasn't just the fact that I like potatoes and so forth. That is brain chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in that space of 5 minutes or however long it was, my entire view of myself and my body changed. And the carnivore lifestyle was no longer something nice to do to feel better. It was a rescue from these cravings that had dominated my life for the last 60 plus years. This had been going on all my life because the way my family cooked when I was a young child. So I was eating to calm my nerves. I was eating to soothe my body. And it was way more than just liking certain foods. And I thought back to when I was eating mashed potatoes or mac and cheese, and it was a fix. It wasn't just a meal. It was something that was more to me than that. And so I burst into tears. I felt so much grief. I felt it through my entire body. I felt grief. And I said to myself, you will never eat mashed potatoes again for the rest of your life. And I knew that was true. And I cried. I cried. And later on, as I came through that and I got to the other side of it now, I still don't trust myself to nibble on something. I'm never going to try it. I'm afraid of that craving that I went through again. I'm afraid of having it again. And I've been interviewing experts on my channel about addiction. And that episode right there has been confirmed time and time again by people who work with alcohol and drug addiction. And I had an expert come on and say that sugar triggers your brain just like cocaine or heroin or something. I forget which drug it was, but it actually triggers your brain with the same sensations. And that when they did testing on rats, do you want heroin or do you want sugar? The rats went to sugar. They wanted sugar more than a heroin high. And so, yeah, this is serious business. So when I heard people, in the chats talking, because people would mention it in passing, it really wasn't discussed at length, I realized that there are so many people out there trying to deal with the cravings and the addiction and so forth, and they don't have information. So I thought, just as a give back, I'm not looking to build like 100,000 subscribers, nothing like that. I just want to put information out there in a concise, focused way to help some people who are having the same kind of, problems and wondering how to get out of it. How do you get out of it? I went in. I teach a writing course at the library, the local library.
Mm-hmm.
Last month, I walked in there to do my class, and there was muffins on the table. And when I saw the muffins, I was like, "Whoa!" Not that I wanted a muffin, but it's everywhere.
It's
Yeah,
everywhere.
I'm going to the library. You're
Yeah,
not supposed to have
I didn't think they allowed food in the library. I thought that was a rule or whatever. No, muffins are okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we people will bring stuff to work like that all the time. Somebody did that right before Thanksgiving. They being kind, in kindness. They're doing it in kindness. They don't know, and it's amazing. It does not tempt me anymore. I cannot say that I've ever had a craving like what you experienced. But I did have cravings. I kind of like you went on this way of eating, not expecting all of the benefits that I ended up with. It was just I went keto to try to lose weight in February, and I lost weight, but I didn't lose anything else, right? My cravings were still there. My anxiety was still there. All that stuff was still there for me. I'm not saying it that, other people do great on keto. My mom is doing great on keto. My teacher bestie is doing great on keto. It works for them. I think for me, because I had done some different, I had starved myself, starving and binging cycles for a long time. I had done low carb for a long time. I probably just did too much damage to my metabolism or something. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but that's just kind of what I think. But when the rest of the carbs kind of went off of my plate and I just went, animal based, basically just animal products. I still have some butter. I still have some heavy cream. Okay. I still have some coffee. So if that makes me a ketovore, that's fine. I'm not worried about the label. But I don't crave anything. It does not bother me. So like when we were at my family's for Thanksgiving on Thursday, there was all kind of pie and everything else. And everybody felt sorry for me. You could tell because they're like, well, can you have this? And what about this? And I have some of this. I'm like, I'm good. I'll take some of the decaf coffee and the heavy cream. So I sat there with my cup of decaf and my heavy cream. I was fine. Like, I think they felt worse than I did. I'm fine. You guys do your thing. I'm doing my thing.
Yes.
It was all good. My side of the family is actually having Thanksgiving in a few hours. And my aunt is famous for her desserts. I don't know what she's bringing, but it's not like I'm not worried about it. It just doesn't, I didn't go into this thinking, well, I'm going to cure my food cravings because I didn't think that was possible. I thought I was going to have to self-control myself
Yes.
the rest of my life. And now all of that is just gone. And yeah, I know. So yeah, that's gone. My anxiety's gone. Like I told you, some of my physical symptoms, my brain fog is gone.
Yep.
It's just amazing to me. And so that's not why I came, but that's why I stay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So you were talking about your channel. Do you mind if I present it? I have it up here in another tab so people can kind of see that. And
sure.
Kind of check it out. So let me put that up there.
Thank you so much, Christy, for doing that.
Yeah. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that. And I always like to say this, I am subscribed to your channel. It's just that I'm not logged in right now, or I'm on a different account that isn't. But my Meeting Wellness YouTube is subscribed to your YouTube channel. But I like to do it like this so people can see. Here's the subscribe button. So go ahead and subscribe. She's fantastic. I'm going to click over here to her videos. So you can see she just has interviews with all kinds of amazing people. I think this Dr. Joan Ifland, I think, is what you were just referring to, talking about the rat study with the heroin and the sugar. Yeah.
She's amazing. She is amazing.
So anyway, just lots of interviews with awesome people in here. So go and check that out. Subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, there we go.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So there was a couple more people saying hello. So we have Karen Harrington. Good morning, Karen. She is ear hustling as she tries to finish Christmas decorations. I don't do my Christmas decorations. My husband does, but I'll say he is normally super last minute, and I don't care because whatever. But I just doesn't. I'm not into. It looks nice when he does it. I don't care if it's done earlier, later, whatever. I'm not stressing about that. But last night he went out and put up the outside. So like we have Christmas lights on our house. I was like, woohoo, it's not even December yet.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. That was fun. And then Ellie, yes, Ellie, that is huge. I know you've had a lot of mental health benefits too, for sure. For sure. Well, if there's anyone that has questions, go ahead and pop those into the chat before we're almost up to our hour here. I haven't seen any questions yet. If you have some, oh, here's Christopher. Hi, Christopher. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Christopher got here late, but is enjoying the live. I'm so glad you're enjoying our live. Thank you so much. So, how are you feeling about coming up on your 1-year carniversary? Isn't that coming up soon, right? Because you started in December.
Yes, and a month from now, it'll be pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just astounded at how great this year has been. This has been the best year ever that I can remember. And even otherwise, emotionally, mental health, all of it has just been so phenomenal. Even my business is better. I think because, I'm on it. I'm clear. I have energy. So, to be honest, some days I roll out at 3 o'clock in the morning. I hit the computer. I'm ready to roll.
We are kindred spirits, Lana. Everyone makes fun of me. You never sleep. I'm like, yes, I do. But sometimes I'm up at 3, 4 in the morning. They're East Coast, so they're 3 hours after me. But they're like, why are you awake?
Exactly.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, so everything has been so fabulous this year. Not that I haven't had my challenges. A hurricane hit my house, my electric was out for a month and stuff like that. But those are just events of life. Those happen. But this has been an amazing year. It really has. And also the fact that I can eat so well and feel so happy and spend so little. I really like that. Everybody says, oh, meat's expensive. No, it's not. It's not expensive when you're not buying anything else. It's the crackers and the chips and the drinks, and that's expensive.
And I dare you. Oh, there's Pixel. She has to get involved in every video. Most of the time, you're going to see my cat at one time or another. Yes, and I dare you to price out those crackers and chips per pound, because I'm pretty sure that per pound price is going to rival that beef price, especially if you are shopping the sales. Do you do that, Lana? Do you shop sales and things like that? Do you have any tips or tricks? Like my big tip is bacon ends and pieces. It's $2.99 a pound, and it's still bacon. It's just weird shaped.
Yes.
It's still bacon, and it's $2.99 a pound. It's my favorite money saving tip. How about you?
I try to get to my grocery store on Tuesday mornings when they put out the discounted beef from the weekend, and I can get some pretty good sales if I hit them about 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. I'll do that. That grocery store, which is Winn-Dixie, by the way. I mean, it's just a grocery store. It's a regular, it's not grass-fed farmer, whatever, but still, they will give me beef trimmings free. All I have to do is call ahead, and they'll save them for me, and I'll go in there and get beef trimmings. And I love that because I stick a piece of beef in with my bone broth. I stick a piece of beef fat in, when I have lean hamburger and I want more fat in it. And so that's totally free. So
I've heard that. I've heard some people get it free and then some people get it for super cheap. And I have a carnivore to-do list that never gets any shorter. Like I keep checking things off, but then I keep adding things.
Yeah.
Like I think you said meatballs earlier. Meatballs are on. I haven't done meatball. Like that's on my list, right? The beef trimmings I haven't asked yet, so I don't know. My family and I are sharing a half beef. It won't be available till April or May, so that local rancher is busy, which is a good thing. But our cow won't be ready till April or May. But I asked for all of that. I want all that fat on there. So that's just going to come with it. You can either take it or not. It's not going to cost any extra. So I'm excited about that. But I also want to go ask the grocery store butcher counter just to see, like here in California, what is that? Will they give it to me? Will they charge me? Like, what's that going to be? But yeah, that's something I want to do. Some people put that stuff in the air fryer and just eat it. Like eat it.
Yes. If I fry a piece of that alongside of a steak or something, then I'll take that out and put it on the plate and that's like eating steak with butter. It's just eating
Yes.
steak with the tallow, but
Yes.
it's so tasty. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. I gotta move that more to the top of my list. I gotta get that done. So Karen has a question for you about dance. She says, "What's your favorite dance? Start there, and others will follow for sure. Then everyone could teach their favorite."
Oh yeah. I took Argentine tango for 2 years, and I love
Wow.
Argentine tango. Yeah, but I like Latin, salsa, bachata, all that stuff, which is an aerobic workout, by the way.
Oh, don't I know
Yeah.
it? The closest I get to that is Dancing with the Stars. I'm sorry to say. I've never done anything, never done anything like that. Yes, Ellie says that she's getting hungry. She loves these interviews, but she needs to eat before. Ellie, I ate beforehand. Did you hear me tell? I made like a hash. I don't even know what it was. Like I said, it was some bacon, crispy, some leftover chili, like just a small scoop of that, and some eggs. Yeah, and butter, and I smashed that because I've noticed that. I talk to these people, and then before you know it, ooh, that sounds good. Ooh, that sounds good. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Okay, sorry. So Argentine tango and Latin, like salsa. Anything else?
Well, just I love, and I'm not in a relationship right now, but I love, the living room shuffle.
Okay.
Just put on some nice music and shuffle in the living room. I love that.
Nice.
So that's about the extent of my dancing, interest.
Yeah.
I'm not an inveterate every day got to practice person. I just like to do it once in a while.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I'm like jumping all over the place. She asked about dancing, which is a hobby. I got to tell you how my brain works. This is why I went back to crocheting, because in my mind, crocheting is another one of your hobbies. Because people are gonna be like, Christy, what the heck? Dancing to crocheting. I just wanted to encourage you to keep crocheting because my grandmother used to crochet. And I have some things, even though she's gone, I have some things that she has crocheted, and now I cherish them. And I know you have 4 wonderful grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage you to keep that up and crochet something for them. That's amazing that you can do that again because your hands are pain-free. Yeah.
Oh, I feel like I've got my life back. I feel like the old me is emerging, not the restricted aging me, but the real me is back. Lana is back.
I love that. Well, Lana, we have gone for our hour. And like I said, I could talk longer, but my family is celebrating Thanksgiving today. Weird, I know, but my side of the family, because all of us are like married and there's all the in-laws and everything. So it's like, we always we just gracefully go, okay, we're going to do ours on a different day so that there's no conflicts of scheduling. And so that everybody can be there. So my side of the family's Thanksgiving is today. I'm bringing some picanha and a charcuterie board. So I need to go and get ready for that. But thank you so much again for coming on.
Yeah.
This has been a great hour. And thank you to everyone in the chat. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.